Where you can see me, or just stand your seat if you want to watch. Make sure I can see your face. You take a while. It's better to be a place you come from. Okay. Please note all the exercises we are doing together. Yes. We'll come to a point where we will have question and answers, and you may ask me, why did you do this? Okay? Very important. So let's come to this one. If you notice something interesting, when you're starting at a low gear, notice that? Towards the end, you didn't even want to listen to me, isn't it? Until I had to use the power of the lecturer to tell you, come on, turn down. So I don't have the power of using case methodology. Because when you came with knowledge, isn't it? And the case helped you to extract that knowledge and you share with other people. All I did was to create the environment for it. Let's go to the next level now. And we want to discuss together. So there is this South American company, which is a plantation. Do you know these South American plantations? Anybody have been there? How do they look like?
The coffee plantations are so huge.
They are huge. A plantation can be like a whole county. Yani Uganda can be 2 plantations. You know the whole of Uganda? 2 plantations. That's how huge they are. So it's like a country. It's huge. Okay? You understand? Alright? And in this plantation, there are workers, there is management. And as it's natural, you would expect some things to be provided by the company. If you want people to work, you provide them with somewhere to live, isn't it? Good. And this company, in their wisdom, had 2 sets of houses. The dormitory, which has who? Bachelors. And then the 1 bedroom housing the manager. And the manager has the discretion of assigning the house, isn't it? Of course, once one gets married, give them the house. Okay? Very good. And there's this young man, right? Called who? Galgalo. In his endeavors going around and enjoying life, he meets who? Joyce. And when their eyes meet, as it happens, young man, young lady, and they fall in love with each other, isn't it? Very good. And they get to the point, they say, a point of no return. Now we are saying, for all practical purposes, we are married. But marriage is recognized only when solemnized by a priest. Unfortunately, the priest is not available. The priest hasn't come. So the 2 lovebirds got to the only authority available, which is who? The manager. And tell the manager, as you can see, we are actually married. So just give us what? The privileges of those who are married, and that is the house. And the manager, in his discretion, decides, well, when the priests come, they will sign the paper called marriage certificate. But for now, we know they are married. So he gives them a house. Very well. Priest doesn't show up the first year, and they get the first key. Doesn't show up the second year, and they get the second one. As you would know, when 2 come together, marriage is not a bed of roses. Even roses have got thorns, isn't it? So now, as it happens, squabbles starts to come in. Some people know how to handle squabbles, others don't. Like in this case, Galgalo reaches the point of saying, this is too much. And decides, oh, actually, we are not married. So the first one is a rehearsal. Now I go for the real one. And as found the first one, he found a second one. Comes with the second one and throws Joyce out with her children. And it is at night. Joyce, having been thrown out, goes to the only authority available, which is who? The manager. Goes to the manager and says, I have been thrown out. And the manager can see she has actually been thrown out. She has either had heat and the night is cold. Guess what? You are the manager. What would you do? Let me hear. Be the first to show your hand up. Tell me, what would you do? Yes, 1. Then I go 2. Let's have your hand. You go 2, 3, and 4. Let's go. What do you do?
The discussion we thought to.
Let me explain something. It is you. What do you do?
Since the house is for the couple,
Yes.
Joyce and Galgao,
Yes.
I will take Joyce to the house.
You take Joyce to the house.
And give Galgao an option either to stay or leave.
So you go and tell Galgalo first come out.
No, I go and say Joyce is back, the lady come out.
So you tell Galgalo, guess what? Jason is back.
Yes, and then the lady out.
Now you and the lady out.
No, I said the lady first out.
The lady first out. Galgalo, I have given you an offer. You can stay with Joyce.
Condition for the night, or you go out with the lady.
Or you go out with the lady, the choice is yours. Alright, very good. What do you do?
Yeah, thank you very much, bro. The powers invested to me as a manager.
Yes.
With all the authority.
Very good.
First and foremost, I made a decision to allow Joyce in.
You did.
Even when she was not legally
Married. Yes.
So I'll use that authority and apply the principle of fairness. So the house belongs to Joyce.
The house belongs to Joyce.
And the children.
And the children.
Grace the what?
Not the
This gentleman is still my staff.
Yes.
It's still my staff.
So what did you do?
So the house is for him, but I will not recognize the second person.
What would you do with the second
Yes,
person?
I will let her out.
I let her out to where?
To the bachelor's.
You take her to the bachelor's. Alright, thank you. The other hand was yes, please.
Yes, as a farm manager,
Yes.
I'll analyze the stakeholders of the farm. So we have the company,
Yes.
me as a farm manager, we have the priests.
Yes.
Maybe the priest will tell us why you can fail to move to perform your duty.
Wait a minute before you even go there. The priest is not here. The only person who is here is you, and Joyce, and her children. And by extension, Gargalo and the new one.
As a farm manager,
Yes.
the short-term solution would be to find space.
Find space?
Yes, which is a short-term, but the long-term would be to reconcile.
Slowly there, slowly there. You will not get away with it that easy. Where is that space?
It is even not there.
It is here.
I will reconcile. I will reconcile the two.
Yes.
I will try to reconcile Gargalo.
So you will try to reconcile Gargalo and Joyce.
Yes.
So slowly here. Here is Joyce. So she has come. She has told you, manager, I have been thrown out. Here are my kids, and she's crying. I can't even demonstrate how she will be crying. Now you tell her, come, let's go. So you take her to the house. I tell her, Gargalo, come out, I want you to reconcile with Joyce.
And the other one is not in the bedroom.
I had up there, and then I come round again. Was it here? Yeah. Please go ahead.
Thank you. As the farm manager,
Yes.
I would make sure that Joyce goes back to the house.
Yes.
Because she has these children who
Yes.
are becoming vulnerable to a situation they did not start.
Yes.
So this young lady, I would comfortably request her to move out.
Slowly. Did you use the word comfortable?
Yes.
Let me see the comfort in how you get her out.
I would comfortably push her out.
You push her out.
For this lady to enter her little ones.
Very good.
Then with Galgao, I would give him an option.
Yes.
As long as you are to be an employee here,
Yes.
this lady and her children
Yes.
have to be in a good condition.
Have to be in a good condition.
Number two, this precinct who neglected his
Please go ahead. I need to hear that one. Yes?
This area where we have mobile phones, I'm sure the person was just a call away. I would inform him of his duty negligence and what actually.
I report him to the bishop. Alright? Let me take you back a little bit. You told me a number of things you want to do. Thank you very much. I want to start with the comfort of getting this new girl out. How exactly would you do that? Comfortable.
I'm the one who gave this to the house.
Yes.
I did not recognize you.
Yes.
Where are you coming from to enter?
Slowly. Where are you telling her that now? Where are you? When you tell her?
In the house.
So you go to the house and you knock.
Yes.
And you say, I hear there is a lady in this house. And I do not give you a house here. Come out now. Alright, I'll come back to you. Suppose she refuses to come out. Can I see another round of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's go.
Yeah, this is a very complex case, and the US helped us to understand how enormous these farms are. Just imagine the priest who had castigated him, but it's just fire away, it's like a whole Uganda. Think about this case. A farm manager, I think, has a limit of his role and interest, what he can do and what he can't do in private affairs. But he's the one who gave out this house for the harmony and the good working conditions for the work, and he made a decision before the priest came. He has still the power over the house.
So what will you do?
Follow this line, but I would maybe use another approach.
What approach will you do?
I call the manager.
You call the manager.
Yes, without the
You are the manager.
I call the
You call Galgal.
Galgal.
How do you call him?
I say, can I have a chat with you?
Galgal, can I have a chat with you?
Yes, he comes to my house.
Where are you right now?
I'm near the house. I knock the house.
You go to the house and knock the door.
Yes.
Knock, knock, knock. Galgal, I would like to have a word with you.
Yes.
Keep going.
Because I can't risk the Joyce because she can't be taken to the other houses of the hostel.
So what are you telling
So
me?
I tell him I've heard what you have chased this lady away, but remember, I'm the one who gave you this house for this
Remember, I'm
house.
the authority here.
Yes. Clear.
I have the power to give houses.
I may not have power over your private life, but I have power over these houses.
Yes. So what will you do?
I say, I want to see this lady back to this house.
Okay.
Either with you in it or you go out.
Okay.
I have a question.
Please ask him because I want to ask him. Go ahead.
The houses are for workers. Yes. Joyce is not a worker. This other one is not a worker. How do you put
Because the workers cannot choose the houses they go into. I'm the one who decides where. Yes. And there should be a reason why I don't arbitrarily the check, send them here or there. So I'm settling this. I tell him, because I can't solve their private affairs. That one we can postpone to another day.
Listen to this question. The houses are given to who?
By who?
Yes, no problem. So you are executing authority delegated to you by the company, which instructs you to give houses not to whoever you choose, but to workers who have met certain conditions. Joyce is not your worker.
Yes.
Your worker is Galgal.
I do not
So,
believe that
go ahead.
She's one of the reasons why I gave Galgal this house, not anyone. So Galgal cannot chase anyone from houses that are under my tutelage.
Alright? I think he has not finished. Let's give you a chance to finish. Back you ask the question and you get to the point. So you have called Galgal. Galgal, come. Please understand, I'm the one who gives houses here, and you have violated, so you have only two choices. You take Joyce in to stay in, or you go out. That's what you do.
I give the reason because of this, also the children and the wife.
Suppose he refuses to open. What do you do?
I call it the security. We visited the house to affirm that there is a foreign person.
Yes. So,
Girlfriend.
wait, slowly. He has refused to open the door. So what will you do to see that there is a visitor inside?
So the security can break in the door.
You tell security, I'm instructing you, break this door.
Even me myself, I can.
So you break the door and throw Gargaro out. Very good. What crime has he committed?
Refusing, I have the authority in some cases to know what is taking place in the houses of the company.
Did you say that you don't have authority over his privacy?
Yes, but there is a limit to
By breaking
privacy.
the door, are you not invading into his
But
privacy?
there is a limit to every right to privacy. So when, what is he hiding?
What is he hiding? Suppose he reports you tomorrow to the trade union for violating on his privacy by breaking his door and messing up with his knife. What do you do?
But there are justifications.
How would you negotiate that to the trade union about the justification? He's the one to report you. You broke into the house. This is my private time. I work for you between 8 and 5. This is midnight. My time, my house. You broke into it. I need you to pay me for damages. What do you do?
I pay them.
Thank you. Let me go now. I have counted hands up. Madam, it's your turn now.
Okay. As I approach what I could do
Yes.
for this situation, I have a few imaginations.
Yes.
The one I'm looking at Garogaro as in case it goes on like this, it's going to create a trend wherever I say, oh, now this girl out, the other girl in. So I have.
So you are worried that even the second one is not the last one? Go ahead.
So that's why I have to intervene.
You have to intervene
Yes.
and make a final decision.
Yes.
What did you do?
And the other imagination I have as a manager, when these people, before I give them a house, I have to look at the two faces and I have to sign as two signatories.
Okay.
So, in this case,
Take me slowly there. So what you're saying is, in future, not for this one. In future, if a young man and a young lady comes and tell you they are married, you will make them sign an affidavit. That me, David Wamombe, being of reasonable mind and mature over 18, I solemnly respect. So you will be taking over the celebration of the business. So you understand in a marriage.
but I also imagine that I cannot give a house to Garogaro unless I see a wife.
Okay, a union. You need to see a union.
Yeah, I need to see that union.
Okay.
To confirm it
Very
before
good.
I give them a house.
But that is now in the future. Unfortunately, you have the situation now.
Yes.
Joyce is crying outside your door with her kids, and it is night and it is cold. What do you do?
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Because so in this case whereby Garogaro has just kicked out Joyce and the kids.
Yes.
Then what I have to tell, I have to talk to Garogaro first.
Talk to Galgaro.
Yeah, because when they asked for their house,
Tell
when
him.
they gave them their house, it's because they were joined as two.
So you tell him, Galgaro, you tell him, Galgaro, there's something I would like you to remember.
Yes.
The reason I gave you this house is because you are joined
Yes,
with the Joyce.
yes.
You are one.
Yes.
Keep going.
If they are no longer joined together,
Yes.
it means that the ownership of the house ceases.
Okay.
And there are two things I could do here. I either find a way of accommodating the kids for that night, if Garogaro refuses. But in case he does, then I have to consult him with Joyce.
Suppose he doesn't reconcile because you look here. Manager, let me tell you the truth. I am now married. Now I The other one, I made a mistake. And I have recognized my mistakes, which I am correcting now.
For me, I it's the first one, not this one. So it goes back to the bachelor's house.
You so going to bachelor's house?
Yes.
Gaga. Thank you. What did you do with Joyce?
With Joyce, for that night, I have to find the over-accommodating her and the kids.
There are no accommodations
Then,
available.
no.
There's nothing, no houses available. As you order on that one, I have please go ahead.
Because I have a question for sister.
You want to ask her a
Was
question?
the farm manager waiting for taking over his wife, Joyce?
No, I was just for.
Oh, sorry, so you're saying you accommodate Joyce for the night?
Yes.
And what he's telling you is first, remember as a manager, you're a man. So you have now taken somebody else's wife into your house. And then the following day, you'll be too happy to accuse you to the council of elders how you took his wife last night. And you also have a wife who may not accept this other one coming in. Yes, sir, please.
Thank you, Prof. My response is based on the facts of which appear on this case.
Yes.
It is clear that the manager had the authority to issue houses to workers. Okay? And number two, the woman for Galgalo, the wife of Galgalo, was crying and asking what to do with her children. The night was cold. Now, as a manager, there are important decisions which we make. The first things first.
First things
the
first.
night was cold.
Night is cold.
And you have the authority to allocate apartments.
You have authority. What did you do?
The case is not clear whether there were no apartments or not.
But I can tell you there wasn't. Keep quiet.
I have allocated an apartment.
No, there isn't. David, there isn't.
Remember, I'm responding based on the facts available.
Yes, I am giving you the facts. David, you are looking for the easier way. If there are houses, there is no issue. Everybody will be happy, even the new girl can get a house. Unfortunately, companies operate with scarce resources. The reason why you even have different kind is because of scarcity of resources. So begin from there now. What do you do?
Prof, I stand on my position. That's the case. I give my...
If you do that, David, we have no argument. The houses can be given.
Yes.
You can even give outsiders your houses, but the truth is you have resources.
Yeah, because
There are no
there are no houses.
yes, the decision that you have to take at
Yes.
this point is to protect the image of the company as a manager.
So how do you do that?
Should you create a situation where there is a fight in the night?
Yes.
And the children are there and you're trying to sort out this issue in the presence of the children?
Yes.
Then you are failing your role. And
So what did you do?
What you have to do at that particular moment, you have to allocate an apartment for the night.
Okay, David, thank you. You allocate an apartment. I think we hear your argument. We have told you your position. There are no houses. Now imagine there are no houses. What do you do?
If there are apartments,
Yes.
go into conciliation, which may take the whole night.
All right, very well. I think there was this hand up here. I got him that I can't hear. Go ahead. Yes.
If Joyce comes to my house,
She's there already. She's there with the kids. Yes. Gafka has come. Yes. What did you do?
asking about
You knock. Knock the house. Knock.
if he fails to come out,
Yes.
I have to go back to my wife,
Yes.
tell her the situation.
Okay, let's start.
Let's take it.
Come, just start. This is this is not going to be as complicated as it looks. Let's do it right here, right now. This is Galgalo.
Yes.
Knock the door and go ahead. Show us how you do it. Go ahead.
Don't open.
I'm the farm manager.
Go back. Go to your house.
I tell my wife, this is my wife. Yeah, this is my wife.
No. Let me show Let's be real. Here is your wife.
So I hope my wife. Yes.
Yes.
So I come and talk my wife.
No, go ahead.
Instructions in a very simple way. So say, money. Outside here with our workers, and this is the case. I've gone to our house, and he has failed to open his house. And we have this case of the children and what? The wife. And I'm looking for a way of accommodating them, but I don't have anywhere. We have such a space to accommodate these people. Yeah, anywhere. And I have another mattress there. Can you let me, or can we do that?
You go and do your things there. And then you want to inconvenience everybody else. You have not been very good to me. You have to come and you have to deal with your things there. And don't disturb my children.
Manager, it looks like you're not the manager. There is the real manager in your house. I had one hand up there. I'll come to you. I had counted the first round there, and then I counted him, and I come to you. Please, I will not miss that. Please.
Thank you, Prophet. I have exploited all these other things, other policies. And in the plantation, there should be a school, a health center, a police station.
The word you use is that there should be. The word is should. Should. Just like the shoe, the priest should have. So no guarantee. There's no guarantees. Okay.
Okay, there must be. The police station is there. And Galagalo has brought in a trespasser.
Yes. So you take her to him to the police station.
I will take Galagalo and the girlfriend
to the police station. And accuse them of what crime?
The girl will be accused of criminal trespass.
Criminal trespass.
What about police? And the Galagalo, how does he take her? He is being charged of
conduct and becoming.
Of misconduct.
Now, slowly. Slowly. Let's be real.
Yes.
Let's be real. Here is the OCS, the police head. You first present the girl. Her crime is trespassing. Did your security stop her from coming in? Did she sneak into the organization?
It's not.
No. No. How did she come to the organization?
The elements of crime of criminal trespass.
Yeah, sorry. How did she come? Did she come on her own? No. How did she come?
She came by Galagalo.
She was brought to the organization by your officer. An officer who you have hired. How then can it be trespass when she has come with the authority of your staff?
I think those elements will be proved later.
All you want is to get rid of her.
She comes in the way Joyce came in. Yes. If you allow Joyce to come in, why would you stop this other girlfriend to come in?
But I mean Joyce was not brought in the way Galagalo brought this one.
They met in the market.
At least for Joyce, it was some formal way.
Yeah.
Maybe it was during the day.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Mine is not a contribution but a reaction to the two now the other comes.
Yes.
Joyce came in
and occupy the place by the authority of the manager. This one comes in, the coming in is not the problem, but the occupation of the house is illegal because it was not authorized by the manager.
Okay, but who has committed the crime? Is it the visitor or your worker?
The worker.
Your worker, good.
Yes, the worker. Now I want
slowly, did you stop people from coming in to your premises?
No.
In other words, is there advice to them that they are trespassing?
That's not true, but the occupation of the house
Yes.
must be authorized
Okay.
by the manager.
But you authorized, but you did that. You authorized the house.
Joyce and Garga, not the other one. So the other one would have come the manager first.
My good lady, it's your chance now.
Yes. The other new one to occupy the house must have first sought authority.
So that's why you cannot come out until I give you the authority.
That's whether you were master with authority.
Okay.
And now the other one was when the father was responding to Dr. Albert that Joyce cannot be left in the house with the children because they are not workers. I respond saying that she stays in the house because her suffering is caused by the worker.
Her suffering is caused by the worker.
The manager has the responsibility over Joyce.
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
So, if a man has disagreed with a woman in your plantation, you give the house to the woman. What do you think will happen to other women who have been suffering before?
Because they are there.
They will all come from the house. And I know you can now kick the guy out. They know you can kick the guy out. So they will come to ask you, even me, I was beaten, kicking him out. What would you do? You do the same thing. Hey, so you kick the man out. Man out. Who will go to the farm tomorrow? All right, thank you. Yes, madam.
For me, actually, my interest that night would be to see that Joyce is in that house.
That's your
How I do it,
by hook or crook?
Yes, because Joyce has 2 children.
Yes.
This gentleman is in a house with a woman. They are 2.
Yes.
2 plus are 3.
Yes.
Get it?
Okay.
I would get there and I wouldn't really be hard on that man.
No.
As a farm manager, I would call him out in a nice way and try to make sure that he comes out. I would actually tell him, you come and we sign another contract. So that you are in the house with the movement. The moment he gets out, the moment he comes out, the movement is out. Whatever his name is, he goes to the door, and I'll keep this woman in the house until he makes up his mind on whether he wants Joyce or the new cat. And that just hold on, bro.
Okay.
The new cat will have to go for that night.
The new cat has to go for that.
Has to go for that.
Where will she go?
That is not my business.
Okay, slowly. Let's see whether it's really none of your business. If she goes, where can she go? She can go.
Where she came from.
She can go wherever she came from.
Yes.
Remember, it's at night. This is a plantation. If she goes to the plantation, what will she find there? Wild animals. If she's eaten by wild animals, the media reports the following day, girl eaten by hyenas after being thrown out by a manager. Do you know that happened? And if the media comes, hey, what I would like to know, is it true that you have gone out Right? My good friends, there are times you find yourself caught between a rock and a very hard place. In the interest of time, would you allow me to ask, and because that question alone, what did you do? I've taken plenty of time. Let's reflect something a bit different. Who was wrong here? Why?
It wasn't the city.
Why was he wrong?
He breached the original contract.
He breached the original contract?
With the farm manager.
With the farm manager? Was there something wrong that happened before the new girl comes?
Yes.
Because the easiest thing to see is the wrong when the new girl comes. Was there something wrong before then?
Yes.
Okay? Let me see by hands. What? The manager's role. The manager's role.
The manager was wrong.
The system of the plantation.
The system, the plantation.
Manager is the trouble causer.
The manager is the trouble causer. The priest. The priest. The priest. The manager.
The manager.
The manager. Slowly. Let's evaluate each of them. Would you accuse Galgalo for falling in love with Joyce the first time?
No.
What he did is natural, isn't it? Good. He comes and presents himself that we want to get married, but the priest is not. Anything wrong so far?
No.
Yeah. Good. Let's stop there first. Come to that later. Manager. Many times you see something wrong with the manager. Let's go back to the policy of the company. The company says that we shall have dormitories and we shall have self-contained. Good. Let's look at those. They are based on the fact we need to house our workers. Why do we want to house our workers?
For convenience.
For convenience. For comfort. Because our labor provider, the worker, needs comfort in life to provide the highest value of labor to us. Correct? One of the values is they need somewhere to sleep. So we have two sets. One is dormitory. Those who are not married, they don't need much privacy. They can live together. Those who are married, we give them a privilege. Do you notice that? We give them a privilege called a self-contained house. Why was that necessary? Why was it necessary for the married ones to be given a privilege? Self-contained house. Why?
They can consummate their marriage.
Consummate their marriage?
A family makes good work.
Family makes good workers?
Yeah, to motivate those who are not yet to that level.
To motivate those who are not yet there to get married? Yes?
You're also sure that the children who are produced are the future workers.
You're sure the children produce are future workers?
I think having married people, you have stability of your workers.
Having married people, you have stability of your workers. I think you can summarize many of the things that you're saying. What is the alternative? Just think about it. What would have been the alternative? Don't give them houses, isn't it? Let everybody live in dormitories. What will be the consequence of that?
Chaos.
Chaos. One, would you stop Joyces from meeting Galgalos?
No.
When they meet Galgalos and Joyces, what do they do? You have not provided them with houses, what do they do? They can come to the dormitory. Now the dormitory is made up of who? Bachelors. Imagine a girl in a dormitory of bachelors. You thought Beirut was bad? You have never seen that. You don't want that too? That's one thing. The other one is you can't stop it from doing it. They can be sneaking, isn't it?
Yes.
Sneaking in the bush and whatever. What will happen if they sneak? They will not provide you quality labor. Because Galgalo, as he's harvesting coffee, is busy looking at the bush whether Joyce is still there. That will not give you good supply of labor. And that is not all. The worst thing, would you stop the children from happening? No. Now, where will the children be brought up? In the bush. When they grow up in the bush, what do they become? Bushmen. Bushmen. Will that be good labor for you? No. So it is in your interest, you provide the married with enabling environment to constitute what is called family and to execute the responsibilities of family. So it is not just a privilege, it's an environment to execute the responsibility. Now, so you have done that for the good of the family and the sustainability of the company. Guess why sustainability of the company? Because the family is the factory in which labor is produced. And you need sustained supply of labor in future. Remember, one plantation is like half of Uganda. Are we together? So you need that consistent supply of good labor. So let's come now. You are the manager, or he is the manager. He knows all that, the reason behind all this. 2 lovebirds come, and there is no priest available. Was the manager then wrong in giving them a house?
But you follow the policy. By policy, yes.
By policy, it was wrong.
Yes.
I like the way you qualify the answer. Inside you see nothing wrong. But on paper of the policy, he did something wrong. And are there times some wrongs are done for the good?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So you think about it. Because imagine you are in the board of this company and you're presented with Galgaro's case. Here is the manager. Would you fire the manager?
No.
Because you hired the manager to make decisions on your behalf in instances like this one. And there is no framework. There is, yes, married ones do this, but there is no framework. If the priest doesn't come, what is he supposed to do? Are we together? Very good. So these are two. But you notice Galgaro did something wrong. You made the first time, but you can excuse him. So is the manager. Who are we left with now? The priest. Did you tell me about the priest? Oh, the priest, how did he come? The priest. Can we blame the priest?
No. No.
I am sure the first thing that comes in your mind is how irresponsible can he be? Hey, be careful. Why would the priest have failed to come? Very many reasons. This is supplantation. You need means of communication. What kind of car would you need to drive around the whole of half of Uganda? Slowly there. And we know the practicalities of this. Does the priest have the resources all the time? No. If anything, he could be having a very dilapidated Volkswagen, which hits up after a distance. So he may have had all the intention of coming, but was not able to. Let me finish and then we'll come, okay? He may have all the intention of coming, but was not able to. I know many people can bring maybe an excuse like, oh my goodness, maybe the priest was dead. Sorry. Then you want to blame the bishop, he didn't replace him. And eventually you see that you are unlikely to blame the priest who would have wanted to come.
2 years.
Hello?
2 years.
Yeah. It is half of Uganda, remember. And by the way, are there, you know, in a community like this, you may not notice, are there that many priests, by the way? Are there that many priests? In the society? Are there that many priests? Right? In fact, they are very scarce.
Only 7% in
right? In an environment like that, don't be surprised that there are only 2 priests. Hello? Or only 1. Right? I know you want to ask a question. 2 years, yes. Even 3 years can happen. Even 4 years. Allow me to finish. You can raise the question, okay? So now, you are not able to lay full blame on this anyway. Of course, there is. Where does the blame go then? Where does it go? And be careful. Okay, the system. About the system.
The system, if they are to make a policy, they should have anticipated practicality of that policy.
Exactly. Let's now go to the policy. Marriage is recognized only when solemnized by a priest. Is there something wrong there?
And then he disappears.
Be careful when you answer this part of the question, especially those of you who have done philosophy in this side. Why should we have laws on marriage? Begin there. Why should there be laws on marriage? And we have laws on friendship. No, there's no laws on friendship. You know a law that says friendship is only recognized when you know that kind of thing. No, but marriage becomes different. It is recognized within premises of a given law. That law must have a philosophical foundation. Why do we choose a certain definition of marriage? Because notice we have done a definition of marriage. Why do we choose a certain definition of marriage? Imagine there was no law. Choose the way you want. Marriage is what you call it.
But which marriage? It also matters.
But you see, and that's the reason why you're bringing what is the definition of marriage. Yes. If you allow people to do whatever they want, you would have worse chaos than the one of Galgaro. In the morning it is Joyce, in the afternoon it is I. Tomorrow, by the way, Joyce has James, in the afternoon he has Dominic. And you know what happened? Chaos. You break the society because the basis of the society is what? Family. That's why as a government, you know, your people will be more difficult to govern if they are not living in families. Are we together? So you bring it, but all the same, as you define it, you have to remember something that he says. You define it in a way that will make it practical. Because now, it's your choice. Make it recognized only when solemnized by a priest. That's your choice. What is the next thing you need to do? Make the priest happen. Because Joyces and Galvalos will keep meeting. And if there's no priest, they will keep doing what they're doing. So what do? Make the priest happen. Now, question is, how do you make the priest happen? Facilitation. Facilitation. Tell me about facilitation.
Yes, you provide facilitation to the priest so that he's able to do it.
You provide facilitation for the priest. In other words, you may have a sitting with the priest. What is it you need to execute your pastoral duties as required by the law?
Yes.
And you say, I need to meet villages in the estate or in the plantation. I have no car, I have no means. Then you have an arrangement with the government. The same way the government can transport the DC and the assistant chief, or whatever it is, it can transport the priest there. Then you make arrangement with the villages. A priest will be coming here once every quarter. That is a government commitment. It makes the priest come every, then Galvalos will wait for only what? 4 months or 3 months, isn't it? Alternatively?
Yes. As a manager, one, I will give some ample time, some short leave.
Yes.
And I tell him to go and meet the priest wherever he is.
Slowly there. You're bringing another level. We are at the level of the policy maker and the implementation of the policy. How policies fail. That you have a huge policy that says marriage recognized by a priest, you put a full stop and now that is the end of your responsibility. Then you leave people to sort it out. When you leave it to sort it out, they fail and you try to come in to solve a problem. The number one person to be blamed is you. Because you did not create enabling environment for it to. Can I finish and then we bring this latest of time? Now, that is at the government level. Now let's come at the corporate level. The government created a law which you see is going to create conflict in your organization. Because you can see the priest is not able to come and therefore is not going to solemnize marriages as required by the law. What do you do now as a company?
The company should organize, find a way of bringing that priest.
The company should look for a way of bringing the priest. In other words, the company commits its private resources for the good of the society. Because they need it, because they are part of that society. Right? Even though they make profits, even though their objective is to make profit, they realize their profits are not sustainable if the society does not have a proper environment for them to operate. You want to ask something else?
You have touched what I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Because the purpose of the company is not to manage people, but to make profit.
It's to make profit. So, but then they must make profit in a sustainable way. Because if Galvalos and Joyces keep fighting each other, tomorrow there's no production. And there's no production, there will be no profit. So, can company make the priest happen? Yes. How can they do it? How can they do it?
Have some budget.
Have some budget within your corporate budget to bring the priest or to make the priest happen. If you can fly board of directors every quarter to come and make decisions for the company, how difficult is it to squeeze in the priest in the same plane and bring him so that as you are making a decision, he is solemnizing the marriages?
Don't squeeze us. Don't squeeze us on the plane.
You want a private jet? A private jet will do, isn't it? Alright? Are we following together? And not just that. Reflect a little bit, my good friends. Is Joyce being dropped at night the only problem that may happen in this family or in this kind of marriage? No. Is that the only problem? No. You think about it. Children are growing up in that family. But priest has not come for 2 years. Who is giving them spiritual direction?
They are not even baptized.
They are not even baptized. There is no formation Are we together? Very good. Is it in the interest of the company that the children grow in a balanced way?
Yes.
Good. So how about setting aside a corner of the plantation and put a church? And put a house for the priest? And provide for... In other words, again, use corporate resources for the good of the society. And when the priest is available, guess what else he will do? He will give marriage counseling to Joyce and Galgalo before this kind of thing happened. Do you notice one of the reasons it happened? Was there any person guiding them on how you grow in marriage? In other words, you assume marriages just happen, but they don't just happen. People sometimes need to be guided. Who is going to guide them? The company has no counselor and there is no priest. Can you see again how you bring corporate resources for the good of the people? Are we together? Now bring it down. That is at the board and management level. Come to now the manager. The government has failed, the corporate leadership has failed, but it has now come to you as the manager. What do you do with this Galgalo and Joyce? I like the way somebody said, I'll get them to put it down in writing. You see what? Formalize things. You are not taking, in a clever way, trying to accuse you that you are taking the place of a priest. That's not what you are doing. You are taking the place of the manager. Formalize things. Don't just tell me by word of mouth we are married. Put it down and we have it ratified in a management committee meeting, which will say we have now recognized two people and have given them a house as a committee of the company. And then we are now going to look at how do we hasten the speed of getting a priest to solemnize what? The marriage. So that if they now come and tell you the first one of our rehearsal, now I am more serious, you produce their evidence and tell them, sorry, we cannot live like monkeys. Today you are this, tomorrow you are. And that way you will have a reason to now deal with him on company policy on his failure. Are we together? Then, very good. And of course you bring it down to Galgalo. What is the place in Galgalo now? Recognizing one small thing, that sometimes the choices we make are not the most important thing. The most important thing is the commitment to our choices. Choice is not as important as the commitment to what? Your choices. If you look at the mistake of the choices you have made, you will always find a mistake. If your interest is to find a mistake to Joyce, you always find a mistake. And guess what? The second one will have more mistake than the first one. And the third one will have even more. And eventually you ask yourself, are you happy? Are you going to be happy? Jumping from one to another? You can't. So it is better to realize at the beginning that you're even better off and happier committing yourself to the choices you have made. Not just jumping from one choice to the other. Sometimes people ask me, what about Joyce? And I say, maybe I should not discuss about Joyce for the sake of my safety. You know, I need to be very safe around here. Because people like to say, what crime did Joyce commit?
False love.
To fall in love, is it a crime? Is it a crime? Alright? And perhaps one can say, as you see crafts happening in your family, look for a solution for them. Sometimes the solution is between the two of you. Sometimes you might need to involve a third person so as to help you look at the problem in a different way. That way you stop the earthquake from happening. So we can look at policy in a very small thing, one page. We only look at squabbles between a couple, only to realize there's an even bigger problem from the way laws have been made, how they are executed, at government level, at corporate level, at managerial level, at individual level. Thank you so much, ladies. Those who are sat up, you can shoot if you have a question to us. Yes, please.
Now, is Galgalo's break